Peace, blessings, and a whole lot of love. My name is Mrs. Hadia Giddy. This right here is called a pendulum. It's a deviation tool, and pendulums are often used as tools for spiritual healing and inner growth. Pendulums are defined as an object attached to an end of a string or metal chain, and when suspended from a stationary position, the pendulum will swing back and forth or in a circular motion. Right? So, pendulums promote healing with the process of dowsing what seeks out invisible energies. This connects people to higher energies spiritually and can help locate any blocks in energy. Pendulums are used as a form of reflecting by asking questions to receive guidance, awareness, and or understanding. Balancing one's chakras is also possible with pendulums, as pendulums tend to pick up on subtle vibrations to clear the body and balance the mind, body, and spirit. Thus, pendulum objects can help relieve forms of pain, whether emotional or physical. An article talks about, how to use a pendulum. Choosing a pendulum is important to allow a pendulum to choose you rather than the other way around. Choosing a pendulum as in person is the best way to realize which one catches the eye. In fact, touching it and feeling a temperature change or subtle vibration may mean it is the lucky one. If the way it looks and feels seems right, then it's the one. Then you have to cleanse the pendulum before using it. Cleansing the pendulum can be done by holding it under running cold tap water, soaking it in sea salt, or setting a mental intention to free it of possible picked up energies, because we know energies is never destroyed, they're always transferred. After cleansing the pendulum, carry it around with you to see how it feels. Now you have to also, then number 3, understand the directional swings. Pendulum swings in vertical straight lines, horizontal straight lines, and in circular movements. This can be done side by side, front and back, clockwise, counterclockwise, or even a bobbing movement up and down, which often indicates strong affirmative action. Define the directional swings. Assign each directional swing a response by first acting the pendulum to show you what certain responses to look for. What does no look like, and what does yes look like. Posting these questions to your pendulum will help define directional swing, which must happen before advancing on to more challenges questions. So right now, to program the pendulum, you hold it up. Once it starts moving, you can say to the pendulum, show me yes. Thank you. So for me, each person will make it a different response. For me, my pendulum showed me yes, going in a clockwise, going this way to the right in a circular motion. Now I'm going to ask the pendulum, show me no. So for me, the pendulum for no is back and forth. Yes is going to the right in a circular motion, and no would be back and forth. So then you got to prepare. A question should be one that can be answered with a positive, negative, or neutral response. A good example will be, now I'm going to use the example that they got. Will I be offered the job I interviewed for this morning? It gave me a no, because simply I didn't interview for a job this morning, so how can I be offered the job? And that would be a good question. They say a poor question will be, will my pregnant cousin deliver a boy or a girl? You can't, your questions have to be straight and forward. It can't be like boy or girl. You can say, will my pregnant cousin deliver a girl? Then you can get a response. Or you can ask, will my pregnant cousin deliver a girl? But your questions got to be not when it's required to make a choice between two answers. It has to be where it's going to either be a yes or a no. So after you program it, you prepare your questions, and then you set your intentions. It is imperative to proceed the question session with a prayerful request or statement. For example, this may be as simple as saying something along the lines, it is my intention to receive truthful answers which will serve the good of all concerned. So you must say, set your intentions because you want your answers to be that of your higher self, your spirit guides, your ancestors, the creator, and you don't want your answers to come from your ego. And then after you set your intentions, questions to ask before and between the next. Be prepared to ask several questions in order to receive enough information to aid in the quest for answers. Make sure to completely stop any pendulum motion between questions to clear lingering energies that pertain to the previous question. So when I ask a question, like I may ask, is my name Teresa? So my answer is no, and I like to say thank you. So I like to say thank you to the first question I ask after it gives me an answer before I go on to asking the next question. And then it goes on to say, tips when using a pendulum. Before practicing these exercises, ensure the following materials are needed, including a pendulum, your tension mindset, and a pendulum chart, which I didn't know nothing about. I want to see about that. To accept information only as if your instincts assure you is accurate. Keep a notebook handy to write down any questions and the pendulum responses. So it's nice to keep a notebook of all your sessions because you don't want to continue asking the same question over and over. Each pendulum may have a different response. Likewise, each person must establish their own directional swing before using the pendulum. Like I said, my yes and no's may be different from yes and no's when you program your pendulum. And make sure that the pendulums have been cleared of any negative energy before and after use. Once you finish using your pendulum for that session, you must cleanse it of any energies, negative energies, before you begin to use it and after you begin to use it. So they also have a pendulum chart, which I'm going to click on this link and see. I love the pendulum because I have gotten some straight answers that I needed that I didn't even know the answer to. And the answers that I got were actually, in fact, true. You can make your own pendulum. Like I purchased this, I don't know if I got this off of Amazon or eBay. Remember to always charge your pendulum. Using your pendulum for deviation. The trick is to learn to ask the right questions. And you can use a DBO. There are several different ways you can use a pendulum for deviation. You'll be surprised what you can learn with yes and no answers. The trick is to learn to ask the right questions. And then in here, it gives some ways to take advantage of your pendulum to find out what you would like to learn. You can use a deviation board. Some people like to use their pendulum to tangent with the board. The pendulum guides them to the letters on the board that spells out the message. Much like a Ouija board. So there's a lot you can do with the pendulum. It has been very helpful to me because I have asked questions concerning my personal life that I needed answers to, and that's why the heck I'm still married. And I've learned some things. I've learned some things through using this pendulum, and that actually were actually right on point. So it's an interesting thing to use, an interesting tool to use for those people who out there are spiritual and looking for guidance may need some answers to certain situations, but you have to learn it for self. You can go online and research methods of deviation, how to use a pendulum, because all this information is on the internet. But I love my pendulum and my crystals, and I tell you, since I became spiritual, like I have found out that I have noticed that I can get upset, but it's not to the fact where I start reacting like I used to and getting a headache and using foul language and just coming out of my character. It's like I get upset. It won't. I used to go from 0 to 100. Now it may go from 0 to maybe 2. And then I am able to bring myself back down to where I need to be at. But life has been amazing since I've been on this spiritual journey, and I'm glad that I'm a free thinker and that I learned to think for self. And things are just falling into place. Peace, blessings, a whole lot of love. Miss Hadia Giddy.